My name's Amy Simpson. I'm the principal of Plaza Towers Elementary. I'd like to start with what a normal day at Plaza is. A normal day at Plaza Towers starts off with Rise and Shine each morning, and that's where our students have the opportunity to see their teachers' faces, their counselor's face, my face, and they join their classmates there. It's our way of doing our announcements, and during that morning meeting, what we call Rise and Shine, we celebrate kids there. We sing songs, we do our school creed, we celebrate the fact that they're math or reading smarties. We also celebrate their accomplishments outside of school. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, they bring trophies in, and we have them stand with their trophies, and we celebrate them. That occurred on Monday, as it has every other Monday of the school year for the last 5 years. Following Monday's Rise and Shine, students went back to class, and I immediately got set up for an awards ceremony. At that time, we were able to celebrate our first and second graders' accomplishments throughout the school year during their reading and their math. The reading and math students were awarded with trophies and certificates. We also gave citizenship medals, and it was a grand celebration with parents and grandparents and their classmates. Immediately following that hour-long award ceremony, and it took that long because we have that much to celebrate, we started our commencement exercises. Now, we don't actually graduate from 6th grade. We call it recognition, but I'm pretty sure everybody in the country calls it 6th grade graduation. But we call it 6th grade recognition. We practiced how they would walk in, where their parents would be, where they would sit, how they would walk across the stage as we called their name. And that took another 45 minutes or so. So at 11, we have lunch. We have 6 different lunches. 11 to 1 o'clock are our lunch periods. So following the 1 o'clock hour, our 4th graders go out to the playground and they play for recess for 30 minutes. They come in at 1:30. Everything in the morning went exactly like it has for the last 170 days. Following the lunch period, teachers were told to be weather aware. Our district had put out some emails letting us know that it was getting bad and that there's the potential for tornado, which, living in Oklahoma and being born and raised in Moore, I went kindergarten through 12th grade here and barely went away from home to go to OU, so I know what it is to be in Oklahoma around tornadoes. They don't develop on a whim. It's not something, it is a rare occurrence. And I don't believe the rest of the country understands that. We're known as Tornado Alley. However, you have to have the perfect circumstances for it to happen. So we were weather aware, which we always are. Tornado drills are just like fire drills. We practice them and we practice them and we practice them, and we analyze them to make sure that there's room for this class or that class, because our class sizes do fluctuate. So we scoop people down, we scoop people in, we move people into bathrooms. So as the next hour came around at 2 o'clock, I was actually interviewing, because life goes on even though there's possibly a tornado coming. I was interviewing a teacher for my pre-K position. As we were in there, I started to hear thunder. And at that time, I knew that parents would want to check their children out. The heavy thunderstorms that late in the afternoon usually bring parents around because they don't want to pick their kids up in the middle of a rainstorm either. So they were picking up kids, and I knew that that would be happening. So I asked the young lady I was interviewing with that we needed to wrap it up, she asked if she could see the classroom. So I said, of course, because you don't think anything different is going to happen that day. So I walked her out of the office past about 5 or 6 parents at that time as they were standing there to check out their kids, and I handed her off to my pre-K assistant and asked, could you take her down the pre-K class to see the classroom? After that, the parents started coming in faster and more numerous. So at that point, I made the decision that you did not have to check out your child the formal way, which is where you walk into the office and you write your child's name down and why you're checking them out. I just was standing at the front, right outside the main office. We have a big window so we can see parents coming in, but right outside the main office there's glass doors. So I just stood right in front of the window, and as parents were coming into the glass doors, I just told them, just go get your child. Just go get your child. If I didn't recognize their face, I asked, who are you here for? And then I would tell them where that child was. Several parents came in scared. And the floors were already wet, so I had to catch one dad by his jacket. And he was in a panic, and I asked him, actually I probably told him at that point, that he needed to be calm before he went down the hall because we were in procedures. And that he was not to go down the hallway in a panic because he would scare my kids. So as he moved his way around down the hallway, he calmly got his child, and then as soon as they hit the corner, he and his child ran out. That happened for probably 5 or 6 minutes. I was asking parents to slowly get there and calmly get their children. Towards the time right before the tornado came, the sirens went off. And I got on the intercom and told everyone to get in your procedures and hold tight. Then I walked up and down the hallway. So that you guys have perspective on, because I know that you know we lost 7 in the 2nd and 3rd grade building. It is separate from my main building. I did not walk down that hallway because I would have to have gone outside, and the distance would not get me back inside to the intercom system where I can reach all kids. So I went down to the pre-K kindergarten 1st grade side. And as you can imagine, my teachers were on their mobile devices watching the storm develop. I asked them to turn it off, that they didn't need to hear it, they didn't need to see it unfolding. And in the way that teachers are, very obedient and understanding of the needs of kids, they turned them off, and I went down the other side and asked for the same thing to happen. Our kids practiced this so much that the fear wasn't there at that time. They were just in their procedures. They were just practicing their procedures. I had come back into the office and asked my office assistant to get me a map up immediately. When we saw on the radar that things were getting closer, I just walked the hall again and was just checking and looking, and teachers were rubbing kids on the back and loving on them, and they were singing songs, and they were looking up at me. The teachers were, the kids heads down, hands over their necks, like they always do. And at that time, I got back up to the front, and more parents were coming in. At that time, I told them, you need to take cover with us, or you need to go now. You need to take cover with us, or you need to go now. So that small group of parents that had come in snatched up their children. But at that time, when they ran out, They were parked in the west parking lot, so as they ran towards the west, they turned around and ran right back in. They saw the tornado at that point. Mr. Ayers, my 5th grade teacher, was out there, and he also saw it. He went down the 5th grade side and warned everyone that it was coming. I got on the intercom, and I said, "It's here." And then I got into the bathroom with 4 other ladies in the office. As the things started to shake, the first thing that you hear is just barely anything. Right before a tornado, it's completely quiet. It's because that energy of that tornado is being sucked up and there's no air around you moving. It's just completely still. And as it got closer, it got louder. The girls in the office bathroom with me were asking, "Is that it? Is that it?" And I don't remember if I answered or if someone else answered, "That's it." This thing started shaking, and it's not like some kind of ride you would get on at the fair where you actually feel your body moving or anything like that. I did not feel the walls moving at first, but you feel things trickling down on you from the ceiling. And then those things become chunks of things. And at that point, in the bathroom, people were quiet. People were screaming. And at that point, I believe that's the only time that I yelled. And I said, in God's name, "Go away. Go away." I'd said it about 4 times. And then it was gone. And what I think is gone, just remember, I've been here my entire life, so I know the tail end of a tornado isn't anything like the middle of it. So as it is still swirling above us, they asked me, "Is it over?" And I said, "All I see is the debris flying." So at that point, I started telling them, "I got to get out of here." And they were like, "Where are you going?" And I said, "I got to get to the kids." We jammed the door open, and I had to step over the sink. It was still attached to the wall. I had to put my leg over the sink to get out of the bathroom, and to my surprise, my foot hit ground, had become ground level at that point with the wreckage and rubble that was in there. Got out of the bathroom, and the whole neighborhood was gone. For whatever reason, God allowed my mother's phone call to go through, because at that time, he probably knew I couldn't be her daughter and take the time to call her and let her know I was okay. So he let her call come through, and I told her, "The school is gone. Call 911. A few minutes later, it feels like minutes, it might have just been seconds, I was dialing my husband, just call fail, kept dialing. I know now he was already in the truck on his way to get me, but I said, "The school's gone, come and get me right now." He was already on his way. At that point, I went around to the side, and I could see that the walls were completely gone, and I could see the kids peeking around what used to be a corner, and also the bumper of a car that had landed in between my pre-K students and my kindergarten students. Some of them could just go around the car. It did not land on any of them. There was wall on first grade and pre-K. Mr. Ayers was the first one out on his side, helping my teachers. Remember him helping them get out. There were men and women running to the school. That was the first place they came. They had gloves, crowbars, shovels. However they were prepared, I don't know, but they were ready to help us. We got everyone out of the pre-K, kinder, and first grade within minutes with the help of these men. I asked them to all start gathering on the front, and to my surprise, because I hadn't gotten to the other side, on the east side, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade had all been taken out at that time too, and were heading down to the church. My husband arrived as I was addressing some students and teachers and asked me to, first he just put his hand on my shoulder from behind, and then I said, go help 2nd and 3rd grade. I haven't seen any of them yet. When he got around there, I had to tell him how to get there because everything was gone and you couldn't tell what was what. I was like, get to the tree and go east. And he ran around there and he started helping my 2nd graders. I believe some of them walked straight out of the hallway by the computer lab. Others were stuck beneath the rubble and had to be pulled out. As they started their rescue efforts, more and more of my kids started showing up at the front. And more started showing up at the church because they had, depending on which side of the rubble they were on, that's where they came out. And there were just so many piles and piles of things we couldn't have all gathered in the same place. I made my way around there, and I begged and pleaded for the human chain to get me up there, and they did, and they were still pulling out students and teachers. After several minutes, you have to forgive me on the time frames because I really don't know how the times were going. The first responders and those that were in the neighborhood started talking quietly around themselves, and that they were trying to decide the best way to help the rest of them out. The rest of the evening was a nightmare. And what was started off as a normal day at Plaza Towers turned into a horrible, horrible thing for 7 families. The rest of the story, however, is how great Moore has been to rally together and behind my teachers and the students. Yesterday, seeing them all, not one parent blamed us. Not one parent blamed us. Because they're Oklahomans too, and they know what a tornado means, and they know what it means in school. We practice our procedures, we get in our safest places. Yesterday, we buried one of our 7. Today, we buried 2. Tomorrow, we'll bury 2 more. Monday, 1, and next Friday, 1. And the families want everybody to know that Plaza Towers did what they could do. The teachers covered themselves in debris while they were covering their babies. And I believe that's why so many of us survived that day is because the teachers were able to act quickly, stay calm, and take literally the weight of a wall onto their bodies to save those that were under them. To Jennifer Doan and Miss Gonzalez, who lost kids, I wanted to tell them thank you. And to the rest of the staff at Plaza Towers, thank you for acting quickly and calmly. It goes without saying that the first responders are heroes in our eyes. Thank you.